$20,618 cash collected with $31,000 revenue in just 16 days. Now, what you're looking at right now is the exact Stripe payment along with the WAP dashboard and the couple payments that we took. And I'm going to be breaking this down, everything, literally everything, from offer creation to hiring a sales team to running a proper backend and also service delivering for those clients. Now, just so you guys know that I'm not bullshitting you guys, we did 25 calls, and this was within the week that we had it, with a 88% show up rate and a 62% close rate. Now, we had a lot of reschedules, so we obviously made an SOP for that, but that's obviously the stats that we made for that. And then also for the sales KPI. Now, the rev came out a little bit weird because we changed the offer to a 3K offer. Now you guys can do the math on that. Came out to around $31,000 rev. And so we did $13,650 with the high ticket program within that time. Now, we also did the revenue calculations on that. That was around $1,800. And then mid-ticket KPI was around $7,107. And yeah, because obviously that's a mid-ticket package. So that came out to $20,000. Now, in this video, I'm going to go over exactly everything, pretty much step by step, literally all the sequences. So you guys can literally just copy me. I mean, like all the systems we used, obviously all the inspo that I got it from, and just some other resources to get you guys along with your coaching business and scale up your consulting. Now, first of all, obviously, if you guys know, you first need to start with offer creation. Now, if you have no clue who you're speaking to, like let's say I have a guy with glasses. I'm going to put a pair of glasses right here. Let's say someone's standing right here in glasses. How can you speak to them directly to get them to buy you? Like, how can you exchange that information for dollars? Now, you can't build an irresistible offer if you don't know who you're speaking to. So we first started with Typeform research. Now, you can do this with a ManyChat sequence or anything like that, but we first started out with the Typeform research. Now, I'm going to show you some of the data that we collected from here. So we started with, like, how long have you been reselling? What's your biggest problem? What is your current budget? Right? So we had some people right here. We had obviously me trolling and stuff like that, to over here because I had to make a last minute change to figure out what is a realistic game plan for these people. And we started seeing a lot of recurring patterns, 2 to 3 months, 1 to 2 months, 3 to 6 months, anytime, 3 months, 3 to 6 months. And so what we did is we did a quick launch. Now, within the first 4 days of signing my client, which again, I need to show you who this guy is. His name is Tool. He was cool with me recording this, so I obviously showed him. But we did, obviously, he has 118,000 followers, and he had a pretty big, sizable audience. And so obviously we still had to optimize some of the stuff that we're running right now. But that's currently what the stack is right now. Going back into the research. So what we did is we want to test his audience. Now, I recommend that you do this as well to see if a high ticket offer is the best. And so we obviously knew, like, hey, we've seen people in the space do this. And so we were like, okay, let's try this out. And obviously, like, if we weren't able to book calls at the start for the high ticket program, it would probably not be a good fit to run up a high ticket if, you know, obviously if the market wasn't there. Like, you need to frame it in a way like, okay, is this audience good for a paid community or running a high ticket? Especially if you want to do consulting, if you want to do coaching. Like, if you actually have a coaching business, you got to figure out, okay, what's the pricing point? How do I price it? And so this is exactly what we did. Now, we did the Typeform, and if they were qualified, if they had 500 to 1K or anything more to invest, we got them to book a call. Now, we got them to book a call for three reasons only. One, to test out the waters, so see if there's any objections, smoke screens that they have. And so I made sure that I recorded every single call with all of my closers. And then also the second thing was price handling, okay? We can't price $5,000 to an Indian audience. I'm going to be realistic here, okay? Or an African audience or South American audience. Now, you can to a US, European market, maybe even Asian. Not exactly sure how you would get Asian clients unless you're from Asia. But just from these, non-third world countries, you can charge these high ticket prices. So we first had to figure that out. Second of all, we had to figure out the pain point patterns and struggles. And we figured out a lot of them. And this is exactly where we went into a market research audit. Now, within the first week, I made this doc. And so I'm going to show you guys exactly how I did it and all of the pain points along with it. So I'm going to delete this real quick. But here, I do a customer profile, okay? So I went into Claude. I got all the resources from pretty much everything from the Go I level, from all the data we got from the sales calls, from the dialing, literally everything I put into here. And I'm going to show you guys exactly how I did it. So first, we found out, okay, the promised land. What got them into reselling? What is the realistic time frame? End goals, like I said, promised land. And then what is the reason they even got into reselling in the first place? So we figured a lot of people wanted to escape their 9 to 5. So we made sure we marketed that, and then supporting their family financially. That was a huge one. And that's something that obviously my client Tool did as well. And then also third, being a realistic time frame expectation. So we figured out 1 to 6 months. So that's what we marketed between 90 days, since 90 days is the time frame. Now we figured out the biggest issues and bottlenecks is the limited starting capital, the fear of scams. This one's very, obviously, very realistic compared to like where we are right now in the market. And like there's a whole, what you'd say, trust recession is the biggest issue right now with, obviously consulting and coaching offers. And so that's why we really took that into consideration, really, became vulnerable with like where he's came from and how far he's gotten. And that's why we did so well. Now there's obviously a couple things that we could have implemented, but this is what we did so far. And we figured out what are their motivations, what are their price points, 770 to 3,900, right? Investment capacity of most of the leads are under 500, which is why we made a downsell system. Now, low current monthly income, obviously all these things, the customer is looking for a structured step-by-step approach that provides clear guidance to product selection, marketing strategies, and sales techniques without being scammed. So that's why we thought this offer was great. And so now we also found the psychological profile. Now, aspiring entrepreneurs who haven't found, their footing into the game, also individuals who felt trapped in low paying or unfulfilling jobs, people with family obligations creating financial pressure. And then obviously experience, like how experienced they are in the field. So we could obviously, figure out who, what the market was going to be for. Is it for current resellers, or is it for people who want to get into reselling, or is it people who have been reselling, they're making money, but they want to start selling, vendors or suppliers. So back to the actual video itself. I'm going to go into the story sequences, exactly how we literally got over 400 applicants literally within the first 24 hours, which is absolutely insane. We booked over 30 calls for this pre-launch, which is absolutely nuts offer. But yeah, so first of all, you have to start with this 4-step framework: attention, aware, and authority, mystery, and a CTA. So typically it's like hook, proof, pain, CTA, but I like to do it a little bit differently, and this converted very well. So first, it's attention. So people are saying, okay, been off the grid for a minute on the stories, here's what's been going down. People are like, oh shoot, I want to hear about what the fuck's been going down, because he hasn't been posting. And then awareness. Boom. He bought his dream car at 18, which is a C8 Corvette. Now, this guy is around 18 years old. He's making around $50,000 a month, which is absolutely insane. And we're obviously going to triple those numbers this month with his high ticket offer. But going into that, aware and authority. And then also, we brought up some more proof. So people are like, holy shit, his students are actually making bread. So a student just bought a Camaro. So we really, really, really emphasize that on the marketing tactics. And then also the mystery as well. But that's not even the craziest part. So like, okay, what is the craziest part? It makes them question, right? And this is just a psychological thing. If you're not being told the exact thing, then the human being itself is going to be questioning it. That's why you need to leave cliff marks. That's why you don't need to be always doing CTAs. And so that's exactly what we implemented. And he says, I've been cooking up something behind the scenes for months, something that's about to change the reselling game forever. Now, we did this on purpose because you want to create it like almost like a movie. Like, is this in a movie? The reason why people want to watch the movie is because there's mystery. It's like, oh shoot, what is this movie about? Why does this movie become so good? And you need to translate that into your consulting offer. Like, if it isn't like a movie, then no one's going to want to watch it, right? No one's going to want to buy it. And that's exactly how it is. Like, who's going to put $20 into a movie about SpongeBob? I mean, little kids will, or like trolls, but you're not going to charge, you're not going to get like insane retention. People aren't going to like the movie as much. There's not a lot of mystery and a lot of engagement as well. And so as we did that, he said, I want to put you guys on early. Respond to the story with early, and I'll send you the details, right? So that's creating that CTA. So the reason why we didn't do a link in a bio or anything like that is because, one, we wanted to build mystery, and two, we wanted to build engagement. Now, Instagram does not push out videos that are, the link in the bio or check my bio or like the little links in the videos or the reels or the stories. Like, they just don't push that out. Hence why we did a mini chat. But then also as well, so these are the story sequences as well. And so that's exactly how we did that quick launch. Now I'm also going to go into the sales team buildup after we did that and after we actually got the data for that. So what you need to understand is you need to build a solid SOP. So if you don't know what an SOP is, it's a standard operating procedure. Now, if you don't have a good standard operating procedure, then your show up rate's going to be bad. Your team isn't going to be satisfied. You're going to have all these closers leaving the offer, and that's exactly what you do not want. And so I'm going to be breaking down exactly how I did it and what we ran. If you build a solid SOP, it's going to change the game. So what we did is we actually took the show up rate from the book a call from 25% to over 88% in just a few days. So do y'all remember this right here? We booked 40 calls and we had a 25% show up rate. Now that's absolutely horrible. And so what we figured out is it's because people they weren't even aware of the offer. And that's exactly why they're like, oh shit, I'm getting pitched now, what the fuck? And that actually dropped off a lot of the trust, which is why we had to bring it back with the free lead magnets and everything that I'm going to show you in this video. So what we actually did to change this to over 88% is we ran a Dow funnel with 0 DM setters. So why did we run a Dow funnel? Okay. With reselling, his DMs get absolutely flooded with automations from Reels and, promoting his vendors and his supplier list. So instead, we actually improvised on this. This is the actual SOP that we ran. So first, we had the type form. Right? And what we did is from the type form, if they were qualified, we booked them in with the mentorship closer on Calendly. If they booked, what we did is we got the dialer to qualify via a Go High Level phone number. And then from there, if the dialer qualifies, he's qualified, he then actually makes an iMessage group chat with the closer itself. And then after that, they send a pre-call checklist, which is pretty much a required video to actually familiarize themselves with it to keep the engagement high and also keep the engagement, retention there so they actually show up to the call. Because if they're not engaged, they're not pretty much, I want you to think about it like this. This is a little bit more of a subconscious thing. If humans don't lack clarity, humans will not act, okay? For example, let's say you have one client in a business. Let's say you have an SMMA. If you only have one client, okay, and that's all you're worried about, okay, that's not going to scale, right? You need more clarity. And so if we give them the clarity, if we give them the authority to do this and we tell them, hey, you got to watch this if you want this, right? And so that's exactly what we did. We made them follow this checklist. Pretty much we nurtured them throughout it. We kept the retention high by asking them to do things. And that's exactly how you do. You give them favors. And so pretty much the SOP from there is obviously send the pre-call checklist, evergreen video to build trust, and a quick voice note from the closer and the actual setter. And so I'm also going to go over this as well. So if they're unqualified, we actually book them for a mid-ticket Discord. So we actually gave them to the dialer. So we had a specific dialer just for this. And then we would just sell them on the phone. And let's say were not biting. What we did is we said, hey, let's hop on a quick Google Meet. And then they just closed them pretty quickly within 15 minutes. Which honestly, this was a lot harder to close. But we just had so many people that were just so ready to start. So that's what we brought it over. So let's say that they book a call, but it's unqualified. Then it's literally the same thing. You just keep them in the rotation. And this is exactly how you're going to make a bulletproof pre-call checklist. So first, you're going to lay out the foundations before they even book. So first of all, who is this going to help? And exactly what is the video? So the video for us was free value. We just gave them a whole reselling checklist talking about how the call is going to go, how we're going to talk to them about the call, and literally everything. And then shove as much free value to them. It's pretty much just push free value, and it's going to bring you money. Because there's a thing called speculation. Now, if they think that something is extremely valued, then the speculation will be there, and that's going to give them the result. So it's exactly what we did. And so here are the foundations after they are booked and confirmed. One, we build the trust and connection before the call via an introduction video, and then we also make them feel like, damn, I need to work with this guy type of feeling. Making damn, I just built so much trust with him. And then also you make the roadmap based on their current state and bridging the distance from their current reality to their goal reality, right? So let's say they're stuck at 0K a month, they want to hit 10K a month. We bridge it, and we are the opportunity to give it to you, right? And so that's exactly what we did. It's a very, very simple process involved with that. The sales letter and the marketing. So building a solid landing page was a game changer, and we used this secret trick to actually solidify the deal. Now, I know a lot of you guys don't know about this. I'm going to give you some actually good sauce right here. There's a marketing rule of 7. Now, this is a secret trick that a lot of people use with their offers. And so they pretty much make sure that the audience at least sees their marketing at least 7 times, which is why we did a certain amount of sequences. That's why you always see these creators doing 7-day sequences for their high ticket coaching offer in their launch. So we actually said, screw 7. We're going to do actually 10. And so this is going to take them from aware to pain to confident to buying, right? And so what we did is we first had the IG story sequence. So first is product awareness. So we pretty much just figured out which one are you. So we try to figure out, are you a novice reseller? Are you an intermediate? Are you wanting to build a personal brand? Are you wanting to make vendors online? And so we said for the past few months, I've been dialing and working exclusively behind the scenes for y'all. And then pretty much just telling them what the program is about, how can they actually get, into the program and all that stuff. And so this just built mystery to stay tuned with stories. And so day 2, we pre-handled objections, right? We asked them questions. We saw what they wanted to ask and where they were in their heads. So first of all, someone asked, is mentorship 101? We gave an answer. Why should I get mentored? And this is exactly where we build trust. Now, like I said, we are in a trust recession. So what we did exactly to do this is we just showed him literally one screenshot of his Stripe. And it was like, look, on my worst month, I did around I went around $30,000. And this was just from in-person and from his suppliers. And we just showed him to build trust with them. And then what we get in the mentorship, all this stuff, I actually spelled that wrong. And I'm actually glad I did because that brought the engagement up. And then how much will it cost? Obviously, you don't want them asking about how much it costs because it's going to turn 99% of them off because they're not going to see value if they know the price. And then let me start early, and then boom, mentorship sign up. So we had to mix it up too as well because they get kind of old with the CTAs. That's why I typically recommend doing the reply with XYZ and then just get a setter to do it or something like that. But we had to mix it up because it's just way too much. You know what I mean? And we did an IG channel redirect. So what this does is pretty much it just builds out more areas of engagement so the viewers will actually be able to see the channel. And then there's also different routes too as well. Like I think what's very important that a lot of people don't understand is you have to have multiple different ways of marketing. Now, a lot of people look at emails, right? But I specifically did an IG channel since it's a really, really warm audience and there's a ton of people in there that really like his content, which is why we started pushing stuff to the IG channel. And then, so yeah, we just pushed them there and then we just started doing announcements, which I'll actually show later in this video. So the second one was day 4. And so we just did awareness and excitement. So we just reaffirmed a no-brainer situation to tap them into the mentorship. So mentorship dropping Monday. Who is ready? Yeah, me. And then no, I hate making money. So it already puts in the framework, okay, you hate making money, then don't join, right? And I said, if you answer yes and are a beginner current reseller, who does not want to work a 9 to 5, wants to go to 5 to 10K a month with reselling, wants to support their family financially. Lock in your spot and click below to sign up for my one-to-one mentorship. This will be the last time I promote this. Pretty much the saying, building scarcity, building urgency. And we actually got a couple of calls off this, and this got us around like 5K just from that, which is super, super sick. So day 5 is the launch and announcement. So boom, we just said, one-on-one mentorship is officially out now. And then pretty much just the guarantee that we make to them, the promised land, how we're going to get them there, and then what is the CTA to join, right? And he said only opening up 7 spots. And then what we did was we made a second day, which gave them one more opportunity because we wanted to collect more leads and cash collect more calls. And we had more calls to take as well, so we just thought, why not? But what we did is we did an urgency and last chance funnel. So we said, wow, was not expecting 400 y'all to apply for the mentorship. Insane stuff. Getting back to y'all as fast as I can. Hang tight. So what this does is it makes a feeling of FOMO, right? They're like, oh my gosh, like this is crazy. FOMO, like, oh my gosh, like I need to hop in on this. That being said, we've already filled up 5 spots during the mentorship. I will be closing this after we fill up because I'm working with y'all one-on-one to guarantee insane results. Click this link if you want to grab one of the last few spots. So what this does is proof to real scarcity because we literally were not taking on more than 7 people. And then pretty much what this did is after they got the ManyChat notification, they were redirected to this specific landing page. So the reason why we didn't do some sort of Miro video or some sort of value is because at the end of the day, for mentorships, people buy from people they can relate to, okay? If they feel a connection with the human being, they will buy. That's just how human nature is, even if you give a lot of free value, okay? You need to be able to you need to be able to convince them, okay? If you're not real with them, if you're not talking to them, and they don't feel understood, it's just not going to work like that. And so that's exactly why we framed it in this way. We could have done like how you can make 5, 10K a month with reselling. No, we said, how did I go from a literal server for $9 an hour to making multiple 6 figures with reselling? Okay, that's exactly why we did that. We didn't make a guarantee, nothing. We just showed like, hey, this is how I did it. And then we made a second step, which is I'll personally guide you to an extra 5, 10K a month. And then we sent them to this type form application. And so the reason why we did 800 USD is because we didn't want, brokies. We didn't want people who didn't have a lot of money. And this helped a ton with that. But I'm going to show you guys exactly the second one, which is pretty much the channel announcement. So I said, I pretty much just, highlighted their pain and did a quick wait list. So what it's going to do is attract the warmest leads, which are literally IG channels, and then not annoyed by users who are used to, being pitched. So he said, yo, boys, remember I said I've been cooking up an insane offer. I'm finally opening up my one-on-one mentorship for beginner resellers who want to scale to 5 to 10K a month within 90 days. Some random course, boom, 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 pain point. And then what we did was a day 2 poll. And we said, mentorship dropping this Monday. Y'all ready? Yeah, no, I hate making money. And then we just did literally the same things we did in the story. And then what we also did is the Discord announcement. So we said, pretty much what we did is we just mapped out an irresistible offer and then a guarantee as well. And so what we did in this is we just added everyone to make sure everyone was aware. And then we pretty much just made special offer. I've seen too many people start making insane amount of money. You'll make your next 5 figures reselling or you gain money back. And then boom, they joined. And we also did this for the waitlist as well. Y'all can do the reading out. I'm finally opening up my one-on-one mentorship for beginner resellers who want to scale to 5 to 10K a month within 90 days. XYZ, building that framework, building that irresistible offer as we did. And yeah, that's pretty much what we did on that side of the Discord channel. And so the next avenue that we were able to bring in more leads into the mentorship was the Shopify email. Now, what this did was this actually transferred warm leads who have actually bought from Tool in the past. They're a little bit colder, but they are still warm since 1, they've been in the system, and 2, they follow them on Instagram or TikTok. And so they're familiar with this content. So what we did is we just transferred these warm leads into an announcement email. Now, I'm actually going to give you the exact framework that we used here. So we said, huge news, first name goes here, you're going to want to hear this XYZ. Yo, it's XYZ name, want to keep you tapping with some updates, launch my mentorship, want my personal help, click here to apply, opening up 7 spots, hope to see you in G. And it should have said the Y, but it's fine. Last call, pretty much. Just warning them, scarcity, and then click on the link, right? If you're tired of getting scammed by fake suppliers, struggling with inconsistent sales, or still trapped in your 9 to 5 BS, this is your way out. My students are literally making 5 to 10K a month in 90 days with the exact suppliers and methods I personally give them. Don't believe me? Click the link G. These last 2 spots will disappear tonight. So if you're ready to change your life, click below to lock in now. Pretty much building scarcity, building urgency in the emails, and actually getting them into it. Now, this had around a 25% open rate. Same thing, this one was around 35%. Just very strong headlines, which is why it did so well. Now, I'm also going to go into the booked email process and exactly like how we funneled these people so that they would actually show up to the call and what we actually did to get that up to 88%. So first, we did a welcome email. Now, for this, what we did is immediately after booking, we sent them this welcome email. And so it was pretty much just like, yo, super excited. I heard that you're going to be locking in with my guy, the closer we had, XYZ. Let's say his name is John. So, yo, John, super excited, bro. About to lock you in with my, my closer, Jim, who's going to be getting you right on the call. Look forward to hearing about it. Just something very, very simple across those lines. And so after that, then we built a pain and relatability email. So literally just hitting the pain points, being like, look, bro, I get where you are. I've been in the same spot. I was really broke. I'm from another country. Like, I get the areas of pain that you're in. I'm going to help you out in this call. Look forward to hearing from you. Because again, Calendly does restrict how long the calls are. So it's, or the emails, but that's why we did it that way. And so what we did is second, we did a CTA and ready email. So pretty much like, yo, super excited to hear you. Just looking forward to that call. Let's go see you in the call. That's pretty much it. Just making sure you're ready. And then 10 minutes out, it's like, yo, just reminder that you have this call in 10 minutes. And this really did help the email percent go up. Now for the last part, fulfillment and service delivery. So the end goal is to deliver insane results before the spots reopen. So more wins equals more case studies equals more money. So as a coach or consultant, what you want to do is you really want to hit this a lot harder than anything else with the marketing. And it's because you're not going to be able to obviously bring on more clients if your social proof is horrible. Now, you could be the biggest scammer in the world. You could have the best marketing team, but if you don't have client results, then no one's really going to want to buy, especially if it's a low ticket community or it's an extremely high ticket price. So you need to really emphasize these client results. And that's exactly what we did here. And so what we did is, and I didn't show you in this video, but what we did is right before they booked a call, after they paid, we immediately got them into Discord, immediately got them everything. We immediately got them on their first call with Tool. And then right after as well, we made them fill out a form on the Calendly that pretty much just said like, where are you right now? Where do you want to go? XYZ. Which one does this categorize you as? So that like the second that Tool gets on the call, the first onboarding call, he already knows what he's doing and he already knows how to help these people. So that's the whole goal, is really just to make the process super simple and just try to pinpoint the exact problems that he's had in the past to help these guys. And so why is this even important? Because regardless of how good your marketing or your sales team is, how good your closers are, how good your copywriter is, how good you are at, I don't know, whatever, like making VSLs, people will always latch onto security. If you want to make easy piffs with zero to little objection, this is literally the most important part. And that's why it was a lot harder for us to get full-on piffs, because a lot of these guys were like, okay, is this even going to help me? And that's the whole issue with it. You need to make sure that you're locked in with this stuff. All right, so that pretty much wraps up pretty much everything about the launch itself. Now, I also want to go over exactly what we're doing right now to obviously, bring in more money, scale to even 50K to 100K a month. And so I'll even list out a couple things in this video. I'm not really going to make any Myros about it or anything visualizing, but first we're pushing out a lot of YouTube content. Now, you really need to be focusing on videos that actually provide value and provide certain pains and hooks. And so that's what we're really doing. We got a video editor and everything. Second of all, we're changing the sort of funnel that we're using. Now we're using a free course funnel. And so that's something that we're actually implementing within the next following days to bring into the second launch, in which we're actually sitting around $12,000 in the last few days, which is pretty solid. I mean, obviously now our offers changed and we have a lot better results. So that's exactly what we're doing right now to, further scale and then eventually go into, running paid ads and running YouTube ads and everything like that. All right. So if you guys thought this video was super valuable, go ahead and drop a follow, subscribe. And if you guys want me to obviously implement these, systems done for you, for the clients, that I'm obviously working with, and for Tool itself, who we're about to scale to over $50,000 a month, I do have an offer for you. But there is a catch. Now, I can only work with two types of people. And when I mean people, I mean creators on social media within the BizOp space. Now, one, creators who have actually built up an audience around their business model and are struggling with any parts of the exact system that I revealed in this video. These people are either selling a low-ticket community, some sort of digital product, or a course already. Or you are not currently monetizing your audience, but wanting to build a profitable info product just like shown in this video. There's also the second type of person, which is a creator or a business owner who has tried high-ticket coaching, but feels as if the work they have put into their business has not reflected in the profit that they have made. And these people are most likely, working overtime on their mentorship business, pretty much working their old 9-to-5. They're also hiring mentors who make them do the work. So it's not even done for you. All this stuff, you have to sit there 10 hours a day, make VSLs, all this stuff. And then also just trying to YouTube University it without actually following a proven system. And these two people, they must fit in the beginner-friendly BizOp industry, in which they teach others how to start a business. Now, for example, trading, SMMA, reselling, TikTok shop, drop shipping, you can name it. So how do I exactly work? One, I build, create, and scale your high-ticket program on a completely done-for-you basis, meaning you won't have to do any of the heavy lifting while I take all the risk by doing the complicated task just like shown in the video, which literally leaves you to do what you do best, which is actually teaching your expertise to the students that I bring you and getting results for the students. So if you are interested in my done-for-you offer, literally implementing the exact systems that I use Tool to scale them from literally $500 a month to over $50,000, we're going to do this month. Click the first link in the description to book a one-on-one completely free intro call with me. Yes, me. There's no closer, no catch. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you guys are interested, again, I do have that in the link in the bio. But yes, until next time, stay tuned, and yeah.